Hello, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thanks a lot for joining in today in the live session wherein we have with us Jia Yu from LottieFiles. And this is a ADPList and LottieFiles original series on motion design, wherein we help you get started in motion design using different softwares out there. So we've done with Figma, Canva, Webflow, and today we are up with a session on Framer, how you can use LottieFiles and Framer together. So for this session, we have Jia Yu with us, and she's a product designer at LottieFiles, where she's focused on designing web-based interfaces and digital products. With a background in both graphic design and product design, she is dedicated to creating visually appealing work that places usability and the user experience at the forefront. And in today's session, again, just like the last one, we're going to make it in a live interactive way. So keep on pouring your questions in the chat, and we're going to take a couple of them in between, and all our doubts will be answered, if not in the middle of the session, then towards the end of the session. So do make a note, and wherever you get stuck up, just let us know in the chat, and we will help you walk through with that. And passing it on to Jia Yu, and let's get started with today's session then.
Cool. Thank you for the introduction, Utkarsh, and thanks everyone for joining. My name is Jia Yu. I'm a product designer at LottieFiles, and here at LottieFiles, Framer is a pretty big part of our workflow. We started using it last year, and a lot of the pages that you see on our website are actually Framer pages that we've integrated into our website. And the reason we started using Framer is to enable designers to design, edit, and publish pages with minimal involvement from the developers. So our developers set it up in a way where we can just kind of publish and push landing pages without them having to really do much. So it's perfect. It really has been helpful in shortening our turnaround time for getting pages out and streamlining our design process. And we've also been able to do some pretty fun things with Lottie animations on Framer. So before I get into it, for those of you who don't know what LottieFiles or Lottie is, I will share my screen and give you guys a quick introduction, and then I'll show you the different ways that you can take Lotties into Framer, and then a few things that you can do with Lottie animations on Framer. So it's going to be a demo. So let me just share my screen. Okay. So a Lottie is a JSON-based animation file format that lets you ship vector-based animations on multiple platforms like web, iOS, and Android. And because it's vector-based, it's scalable, so you can scale it up or down infinitely with no loss in quality. And it also has a super small file size when you compare it to other animation file formats like GIF, MP4, or PNG sequence. And you can also program it to be interactive. So you could make it play on hover, play on scroll. You could sync it with your scrolling. That might need a little bit of coding work, but you can definitely do it. And so that's what Lottie animation is. It's a file format for animations. And the LottieFiles website is a platform where we have an extensive library of free animations that are completely free for personal and commercial use. And we also have a bunch of tools and plugins that allow you to use Lottie on different platforms and integrate them into your design workflow. So for example, we have the plugin for After Effects, we have for Figma, and on Framer, it's actually not even a plugin, it's just already built into Framer. It's natively supported on there. And if you go on our integrations page, there's a bunch of other tools that we've listed that you can integrate Lottie with. And for a lot of the popular online tools and platforms, you won't need to use any plugins at all because they're also natively supported. So for example, Webflow, Canva, Medium, and of course, Framer. So Framer, as you already know, probably, is a no-code site builder that lets you design and publish websites. And the UI is going to be really familiar to designers who use Figma. And because they support Lottie natively, it makes it really, really easy to use Lottie animations in your Framer sites. So for example, this is our landing page for Canva. And this whole page is built on Framer. And we also have this really cool section that you can interact with. And you can like drag the stickers here onto the canvas. And this was built completely in Framer as well. And it's so fun because people come to our website, they can interact with this, this section and sort of experience themselves how easy it is to use Lottie animations in Canva, as easy as literally dragging and dropping. So I'll show you how we built this on Framer and a couple other ways that you can use Lottie animations in your Framer sites. Okay, so first things first, where do you get Lottie animations? So the first place, like I mentioned, is on our website. So if you go to free animations, all these animations are completely free, and you can search any keywords for the type of animation that you want to use. So here's a bunch of cat animations. So that's one place that you can get them. Another place is, for example, if you are a motion designer yourself, or if you're on a team where you work with motion designers or animators, they might create those animations on After Effects. So for a motion designer, they could use our plugin for After Effects. So with this plugin, it enables them to export their animations as Lottie, as like the Lottie file format. So nothing changes in their animation workflow. They would just do everything as they usually would on After Effects and just use the plugin to convert it to a Lottie. And the third place is going to be really useful if you're a designer and you use Figma. I know we all love Figma, but we also have a plugin for Figma. Let me find it. Okay, yeah, so if you go to Figma, you could download our plugin in Figma community. So I'm just gonna pull up the plugin. I already have it downloaded. And there's like a really easy way of turning static frames into animations on Figma. So I have some frames here, and I'm just gonna go to the plugin. And here are all the free animations that I mentioned earlier. And I'm gonna go to export to Lottie. And then I'll select these frames, click export to Lottie, and there you go. So what it does, it's kind of like Smart Animate in Figma. You put a bunch of frames with how you want your animation to move, and it will animate it for you. So it's as easy as that. And this is one way you can do it. If you have just an SVG, so just like one frame, you can also animate that. So I'm going to select this and click export to Lottie. And if you just select one frame, you're going to see a bunch of presets here that you can apply to the vector. And then once that's done, so let me just go back to the first one. So yeah, this looks great. So you can either insert it as a GIF if you want to use it on Figma, because Figma doesn't support Lottie, so you'll have to convert to a GIF. But if I want to use it on Framer, what I would do is click Save to Workspace. So this is going to save it to my LottieFiles workspace. So I'm going to click on this folder and just save it. Okay, so now it's in my workspace. So now let's go to Framer. So this is the Framer page that we'll use as an example. Fun little page. some cute monsters on it. And these are all Lottie animations. So if I wanted to put that animation that we just made on Figma into Framer, let me just hide this one. I would go here. It's already searched, but yeah, you click this and then just type Lottie. And you'll see there's two options. There's Lottie and .lottie. So .lottie is like another file format, and it's usually even smaller than Lottie because it compresses all the stuff that's in the Lottie file into a zip folder. So usually it's even smaller. So you can use either one, but the .lottie player on Framer is the newer version that we worked with the Framer team on. Lottie, the Lottie player on Framer is a little bit older. And because of that, .lottie has like some extra features that the Lottie player doesn't have. So that's why I'm going to use that today. But you can use either one of them. I would just drag this to where I want it to be. And okay, here you'll see there's two options. So I can upload the .lottie from URL, or I can just upload a file from my desktop. Oh, I just changed my profile picture, so those are all my pictures. Okay, but yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't have to show that. The more, I think, interesting one is uploading from URL. So let me just go there. Okay, I'm gonna go to my, yeah, this is the LottieFiles workspace. So this is where I save my Figma animation to. So I'm just gonna refresh it to get the animation that we just made. Okay, so here's the animation. And just as a summary, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with platform, but on LottieFiles, in your workspace, it's basically a place that you can organize all your animations into folders. And if you are on a team, you can like mark the status of the animation, and you can invite people from your team to leave comments on the animation. Okay, so going back to the second method of importing animation into Framer is via the asset URL. So I would just go here to hand up and embed and enable asset link. So, and then like enabling the asset link is going to allow this animation to be used on websites, apps, social media, and more. And then I would just click the appropriate file format. So since I chose the .lottie player, I would go with optimize.lottie, because optimize.lottie is even smaller. And then I just copy this link. Then I'll go back to Framer and paste that link and get rid of that background color. Yeah, and there are a few settings here. So you can make it autoplay or not, change the background color, the direction, whether it plays on hover. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is because this is what I want, and show you how that looks like. Yeah, and if you wanted to do hover to play, just turn off autoplay and turn on hover play. So then it only plays when you hover on it. So the difference between uploading as a file and uploading the asset URL is that with the asset URL, if there's a new version of this file, so let me just go back to the platform. Okay, yes. So here you'll see there's an option to upload new version. So if you wanted to make any edits to this file, you could do that, and then you could upload a new version here and it would overwrite this version. And if you added this animation via asset URL to this Framer page, that new updated animation is going to reflect on your Framer page. Like you wouldn't have to upload a new file or do anything. So that's the main difference between uploading from the asset URL and uploading as a file. And besides standalone animations, you can also use Lottie animations on something like buttons, like this. So this little guy appears when I hover on the animation, and it's just like a really cute little fun way to insert more to the light for your users. So to do that, I'll just hide this and let's make a new component for this button. So I'm just going to call it button. And then I'm going to add the .lottie player again. Let's resize that. And then I'm going to go to this animation and do the same thing with the URL. Paste it, get rid of the background. Okay. Oh, wait, where'd it go? Okay. Just gonna refresh this because I think my framer is being a little bit funny. Okay, so now you can see the button. Okay, it's gone again, but it is there. Sometimes it just doesn't play for some reason. Yeah, so this is the default version, and I'm gonna add a hover. And I'll make it so that auto plays off and it plays on hover. So there you go. And the main reason that we're adding this as a component instead of just the .lottie player is because if it's a button, you cannot attach links to the .lottie player component on Framer. And so you wouldn't be able to click on it. So that's why we make it into a component. So you would just add the link right here. But since this is a demo, I'm not going to add any link. Yes, so that is how you can turn a button into an interactive animation. And you can do, this isn't the only way you can do it. Instead of the whole button being one animation, you could also just make a button normally on Framer. And then you could make it so that the hover state, for example, like maybe on default, there's some text in the button and then an arrow, a static arrow, and then on hover, the arrow moves or something like that. So that's another way that you could do it. Okay, and the third way is the Canva. The third thing, that I'm going to show you is the Canva interactive drag and drop section. So I've just copied it here. And here we have a bunch of stickers and we want to make this draggable. And Framer actually has a built-in drag effect that I'll show you. So I have an image here, just a vector. Yeah, and then you would go to effects and just click drag. And there's some settings so you can decide whether you want the animation to, not animation, the asset to snap back to its original position when you drag it, like this, or if you want it to stay where you dragged it, like that. So this would work for images and I think text on Framer, but it does not work on some components. So it doesn't work on the Lottie player or the .lottie player in Framer. So that's why there's another way that we can get around it, but it does involve a little bit of code, but it's not difficult, so don't worry. So let me just show you how we do that. Okay, so to get around that drag issue, we're gonna have to add a code override on Framer. And to do that, you just go to Assets and click this, and then add a new override. And I already have it, so I'll just show you what that would look like. So when you add a code override, you're gonna have a blank page, and I just pasted this code into the text area. So what this does is that it, first of all, enables dragging to whatever component that you apply this code override to. And it also has some hover effects. So on hover, the cursor is going to change to the move cursor to show that it's interactive. And the scale is also going to increase a little bit. So these two things are just to make it really clear to the user that it's interactive. And there's also a press effect. So when you tap on it or press on the object, it's going to get even bigger and it's going to rotate a little bit. So now that I have this code override on my file, I'm going to go back to my page and click on the animation. Okay. So you'll see here in the layers that I have the animation, the .lottie player, inside a separate frame. And that's because the code override doesn't work on the .lottie player. So you have to put it in a frame and then apply the code override to that frame. So to do that, just go to the bottom right corner, click on plus, make sure that the draggable file is selected, and then select with draggable. And then I'm gonna do the same for this one. Actually, just let me show you without. Yeah. So without it, you wouldn't be able to drag anything. Okay, and then these all already have the code override applied. So that would look like this. So now you can just drag Lottie animations. You can customize the press effects, the hover effects. And yeah, that's how we built this interactive section on our Canva landing page. So these are just a few ways that you can use Lottie animations on your Framer projects to elevate your designs and make them more engaging and more interactive. And I hope you guys learned something new and feel free to try these out yourself. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jia Yu, for the session. And most of the questions, Yamin has answered them in the chat. I can see one of them that is
Nice.
still not active. One of them is by Muichu. Is this responsive web or is it mobile?
Sorry?
Is this responsive web or mobile?
Oh, this specific section, let me just show you one. Where did it go? This specific section on free, okay, let me just go to the plugins, Canva. Framer is interactive, so you can design it responsively. This section is difficult to do on mobile, so it's just available on desktop. If I resize the page, you wouldn't be able to. It would just be, where is it? yeah, we would change it to just an image. So at a certain breakpoint, you can set it so that at a certain breakpoint, you're able to interact with it and play with it. And then when it's like smaller than a certain breakpoint, when it gets to mobile, then we just show a static image.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, the next one is from Alexandru. It is, can you charge clients more because you use animation from Lottie? And do the client have to pay for the subscription fee, or do I take that on my head?
Mm. So it depends because we do have a free version of LottieFiles, and all the animations I showed you just now in the featured section, those are all free. So you don't have to pay for them at all. And for platforms, so the file storage thing that I showed you earlier, there's different tiers. There's a free tier. So if you're using that, you wouldn't have to pay any subscription. But if you need more features, for example, if you work with a team and you want them to be able to comment, you want to invite people to the look at your files and approve them, then you might have to get the paid tier. Or if you want to you have a lot of animations that you want to store. So whether you kind of offload that a little bit onto your client or not is completely up to you.
Okay. And Michu has actually sent up a follow-up question. So the question was actually for the animation output, as in the Lottifile animation. Is it responsive for mobile and
Mm,
web, or how's it actually it?
okay. Yeah, Lottie animations can be used on web and on mobile. So you like browser, web, and like mobile browser, and also mobile apps. So you can use them in all of them, and you can make them interactive. I think maybe that's what you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just interpreting responsive as interactive. You can, yeah, you can. If you go to the interactivity section of the LottieFiles website, maybe Yamin can drop the link to that, to the interactivity guide. There's going to be instructions. It's more catered, that one's more catered towards developers because it does involve coding, but you can make it so that you play the animation and hover, or you reverse it, or you can sync your animation to scrolling. You can play it on click. There's a bunch of things that you can do.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else has any question for Jia Yu? Okay, I guess that was the last for today. Thanks a lot, Jia, for joining us today and sharing the live demo how LottieFiles can be used along with Fima. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us here. And we will keep on bringing up new sessions for you in the coming year. And have a great rest of the week. Have a great rest of the year. Thanks again.
Yep. Thanks, Ukars. Thanks, everyone.